Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Jackie and I've got two journals to share with you today. They're similar in a way. This one is fairly rustic and this one a little less so. They're both quite full and we'll try and go through them fairly quickly in one video. So they're the single signature journals. They're approximately just under 6 by 8.5. Got 84 pages counting fronts and backs, and they are quite full. This one a little bit more so than this one. Okay, so let's start with this one. It's a tapestry cover, so it's fabric over cardstock. There's a boho paperclip charm with we've got a flower, an Eiffel Tower and some snippets. I'm just going to move that up slightly to see if you can see that better. So that's that. Sari silk bows. These are on an eyelet, on ball pins through an eyelet. There's sari silks and a little bit of chiffon ribbon. One of my favourite images on the front, and you can see that's layered up with various book pages and such like. There's a little snippet here with a tiny heart. So inside we've got some vintage and a bit of scrap paper. It's found its way in there. Get that out. Sorry, there we go. This is some vintage lace and some sari silk and lace. And I've made a little tag on a safety pin. And you can see the inside fabric here is this green, pretty green colour. Okay, I've got scrapbook paper, it's a large journal card there, some sari silk stitched down here, and this little miniature tag is from an old tea card album, and that's in a vintage lace pocket, and I've done another one here just to add a bit of extra interest really. This is a tea card. We've got some music paper with washi tape down the edge. I've edged some of the pages and added some charms on twine through there. Book pages on scrapbook paper, some butterfly cards. They're just on cream cardstock that match, because this is from a vintage insect book. This obviously is scrapbook paper. This is from an old gardening book. This is from a book about buildings. I've got tea stained paper, a little bit of stenciling in this one, a few found quotes and a typewriting book. This is my Tracy Fox hanging tag that I do put in nearly every journal I do. I still love that design, Tracy, thank you. Some old vintage atlas paper. I've done some corner collages. I've seen quite a lot of people do these. I've been doing these types of things recently, including my friend Wendy. Wendy's are fabulous. I'm still learning, but I quite liked how these turned out. I've got some old maths books. And this is English old money exercises, which you could do if you wanted to. If anybody wants to work out 277 at 8 old pence. We used to do that at school. It's a bit of stamping. This is from another vintage book about buildings in London. I've got some ledger paper. A tag that I've made recently popped in there, and that's finished with some buttons. Tea card. The centre of the signature is from a botanical book. It's a little bird charm. There's another pocket there with some journal cards. This time the previous one used a vintage flower book. This is a vintage bird book, the Observer book. These are just plain, they haven't got the extra tabs on. This is from the Buildings book, and this is a plan of Durham House. This is another corner collage, and in these I've just put some old vintage book pages just for a bit of added interest. And there I've made an envelope with nice doily print on that tea stain paper. It's an envelope with some little bits of ephemera in there. A little surprise, but not to get too excited over those. This is a cone, another of those found quotes. Little floating pocket using some old French books that I've got. It's the other side of the music paper, and another of the snippet embellishments there with a large journaling card in that one. So that's that book, and that's the tapestry paper you can see there, which is rather lovely. I think I've used that before. And then this journal is a little less rustic, as I said. We've still got fabric over cardstock. I've still got a paperclip charm here. So this is a creamy colour, and this little image in here is from a Beatrix Potter book, and I think it's some irises, very tiny. And then there's a long dangle charm, a rose, and a bit of vintage lace on there. I've mixed vintage lace with new lace. This is new lace. And on this one, I've just literally tied, I've kept the decoration quite simple, and it's just tied through the centre of the book. So all of that is removable. If we go inside, this one has pretty peachy pink fabric on the inside, Tim Holtz paper for my scrapbook paper. I've made some little frames and used old tea cards for the images. This one is actually over a bit of fabric. I've been watching Ephemera's Vintage Garden recently, and she did something similar to this, which I rather liked, so thank you. She also made some journal cards similar to that, and I've included some vintage book pages in this one as well. This is a plate from an old gardening book. So that's that one. Tea stained paper again. Stenciling, as I said, it's similar in style really to the other one. This is a floating pocket, my atlas page, some page edges. This time I've tied the charms on with embroidery floss rather than twine. This is the typewriting book. We've got stamping, botanical images from an old book, a couple of tags, a little window tag, and this is decoupaged onto one of these alterations type tags. And there's some bits of lace and tags on there, little tiny tags, another of those frames. This time I've chosen the ledger paper that's actually got some writing on from 1923. This is the old money, English old money. Again, I've done some corner collages and some vintage book pages tucked into those, which you can have a look at. These journals are quite eclectic. They don't follow a theme particularly, but I do try and coordinate the colours as much as I can. This is Tracy Fox tag with a bit of stamping and lace. A few old playing cards. This is from another botanical book. I think that's Reader's Digest one. I've used Edith Holden for the centre of the signature. This is an old postcard, which is dated 1939. I liked that it got the old stamps on, and I've included some old stamps on my journal cards, some of them, which I'll point out. This is a little pocket made from the old French books, and just decorated with some doily. It's the other side of the ledger. corner pocket, and this time it's the Art of the Needle. These book pages are from the late 1800s. There's a couple of journal cards there from the bird book. Another book page, and a little kingfisher tag, and these that I saw Ephemera's Vintage Garden do. I've forgotten her name. Is it Denise? I think it might be Denise. Just embellishing with some old stamps, and there's another book page in there as well. And that's the back page and the back of the book, where you can see this pretty dark peach, I guess, sort of light brick pink colour, which is really lovely. Thank you for watching. These will be in the Etsy shop shortly. Thank you.